How is the startup ecosystem can take advantage of these developments?
I think there are couple of one telemedicine is one piece, uh, but there are couple of stuff, especially when you talk about healthcare. In my opinion, and I'm right now focusing on the tech part only because that's the only stuff which I am able to grasp, understand, and comprehend. Uh, there are 3-4 technologies which are important trends which are emerging, and I'll say that they have emerged, they have proven themselves. One is definitely the mobility piece.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what it means is that COVID especially taught us maintain distance, that do gaj ki duri is jaruri, all that. So basically it was telling that remote is very important. So whenever it says remote, for me it's nothing but mobility.
Absolutely.
So mobility is bound to stay, whether it is your patients for telehealth. I'll say telehealth. I'll not say just telemedicine, and I'll explain what is the meaning of telehealth.
Okay. Okay.
And then whether it's doctors who can do remote consults or can check the basic vitals of the patients using digital stethoscope or other HD cameras. Uh, so mobility is bound to be there. Patient doesn't have to do anything, by physically coming to the hospital, which means that they can book an appointment through mobile phone, they can do the payments through the mobile phone, they can get the bill on the mobile phone, they can do the consult on the mobile phone, they get a prescription on the mobile phone. So mobility is the key ingredient of all the future solution. So whenever you're building a solution, think about mobile first. Mobility, mobility, mobility. This should
Okay.
be the keyword.
Okay.
Second thing is that, see, you are talking of Skill India. Okay, in Skill India, uh, I think the major problem with the nation is that we have not been able to impart vocational training to
Too
the
many
large.
students. Large extent.
Okay,
Right. Right.
I'll pick up a anecdote. Guru Arjun was only for 105 Kauravas and Pandavas. There are many Ekalavyas. Okay, so Ekalavya is a character in the Mahabharata. I'm assuming that your young startups, chaps will understand what Mahabharata was and what Ekalavya was.
Correct.
So Ekalavya, got yet trained by Guru Arjun Dronacharya,
Dronacharya.
but he has to, sacrifice his thumb.
Correct.
We don't want to do that.
Okay.
Country has so many Ekallavyas, and we have very strong shortage of Guru Arjuna Dev. So we, Guru Arjuna Dronacharya, so we need some mechanism by which the skill training, hands-on training can be given. Healthcare is one example. There are many sectors, sector-wise. Pick sector-wise. So you think about virtual reality or augmented reality. Our Gurukul, our ancient days were complete hands-on workshop kind of schools where students stay there, he get immersively involved into the training aspect. Now we can't do that. Society has changed, scale has changed. We don't have those kind of gurus. We don't have those kind of even students. So tech has to play an important role. I strongly believe that after God, tech is the only unbiased, independent platform which doesn't judge between two human beings.
Absolutely.
So you bring VR and AR, startup guys. Think about how can you skill India. Government, Prime Minister, all state leaders are talking about skill India, skill India, skill India. They are willing to invest. Rural public needs to we don't want our rural youth to just sell cigarette and BD in a small pan shop or sell Coca-Cola or chips. They are well equipped to do a lot of vocational training. Only thing is that we don't have the platform.
Excellent. You spoke about virtual reality and augmented reality. It was a couple of years ago, I think about three years ago. A lot of buzzword around metaverse, right?
Yeah.
Meta was betting about $10 billion investment, 40,000 people were appointed there, and they said healthcare to retail to anything you name it. In fact, there were a couple of Punjabi singers in India who went to the extent of buying a land through metaverse, right? I don't remember the name of the singer. So that point in time, I think a lot of people, the tech world was betting quite heavily on metaverse, saying that it's going to change the way health is primarily addressed in the world. For some reason, metaverse had its own natural death. I can't say whether it's dead or gone, but I still say that nobody's talking about metaverse anymore. What is the significant thing which has contributed for metaverse to have a slowdown?
So, there are a couple of reasons, and not in any order. One, the handset which is required for end user was bulky, was costly. So it's just one of the deterrent, because when you say handset, you can't have training for 6 hours with a bulky headset. Second thing was that when you talk about uh, metaverse, virtual reality, or augmented reality, the most important aspect in this is the content part. When you say training to a nurse to how to put a pick line, or how to put a cannula, or how to put a center line, or a training to a surgeon on how to look into a 2D or a CT or MRI and make it 3D so that you can do neurosurgery planning next day, those contents are not there. It's not about tech. It's about the underlying inputs which has to go to the tech part to ensure that tech is successful. So those eventually it will come. Similarly, let's take a simple example. It is still very. I think it has not seen the deathbed, especially if you look into the retail industry, the fashion industry, the the industry which is used by interior decorators or architects. They still using it to visualize, because there is still, at least in the architecture and interior, it's a geometrical figures which are defined, finite, but some of these others industry are yet to develop those content parts which can be fed into metaverse to take the advantage or to leverage the technology as such.
So, if I understand what you said rightly, metaverse will come back, but the current challenge is that we don't have enough of input for metaverse to work efficiently. That's a point number one. And point number two, you said metaverse requires heavy equipments,
Yes.
right? In order for
Even on the
somebody,
server side.
Even on the server side. Now, if you say, if I'm a startup, if I'm able to break these two challenges or the shortcomings for metaverse as a universe, you think I made it?
Yes, you have to work very, very close. As a startup, let's take a healthcare industry. You will not be able to ever understand that what it goes in putting up a central line in patient when he's in the ICU. You will not be able to figure it out how to insert a rice tube in a while you have to feed that. So you have to sit with nurses. You have to sit with clinician, ICU doctors. How do you train? Because when you're putting up the pick line, if the blood comes, the haptic part, the five senses, you have to understand that and then start doing the programming
You
part.
mean to say the human reflexes are playing a very vital role here rather than any.
Yes.
So, how about robotic engineering? Robotic engineering playing a very important role in the healthcare industry?
It is catching up. It is not yet. There are fundamental reasons for this. Is that first of all, let's understand robotic will play an important role uh, when the tasks are mundane. They are doesn't need complex decision making, or they don't have to deviate from the proven path, which means that no exception handling. Okay, now let's take a simple case. We saw a robotic in one of the Western country hospital where it was picking up the medicines from the pharmacy, multiple racks, because they were all coded, and making a bag out of that and pressing the lift, going to the lift, pressing the button, saying it, go to lift, go to floor number 3. So lift used to go. Now these are some fundamental architecture changes which you can't afford to do in the existing infrastructure. So I think in near future, but I am of the opinion that if you look into the near future, robotic is going to be play an important role in the manufacturing side. They are going to play a very important role. Assuming that I'm doing a physiotherapy with a patient which has a routine fixed set of tasks to be carried out, or when a patient has to be moved from a bed to a machine, say CT or vice versa, or OT table, and patient generally, if they are obese, it is too difficult to carry. 4 or 5 people have to do that. Can a robotic do the task? Easily can do a task. So where the heavy lifting, where the routine task, where the mundane task, no complexity with respect to logic change, they will play an important role.
For the understanding of the startups, you are saying in the healthcare industry, some mundane tasks or tasks which are quite heavy, which cannot be carried out by the human beings, it could be an opportunity area for the startups to go into that.
Or think about, coal mines. It's too risky an area where human lives get impacted. When we know through the help of a remote camera and a vision ability, which is being managed remotely through the help of a robot, I can go to a difficult terrain and do certain basic, recce of the land. Similarly, oil fields. Similarly, oil explorations. All those areas where we don't want to, risk a
Human life. Tell me, Rajiv, how is artificial intelligence is going to contribute to the growth of healthcare industry?
So, artificial intelligence is no more artificial. It is the real intelligence. Okay. Next 10 years or 15 years is not of the heart, it is of the lungs. Because we are all staying in polluted cities.
Polluted cities.
So,